See, Charles keeps asking me to be deacon, and just not have the time.
Are you live?
If you can find the time, that's right.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by the Township Council, which scheduled designate the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We're using electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and we request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be still utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meeting. Madam Clerk, command the roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Ms. Grace?
Here.
Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Stubbs?
She is ill.
Mrs. Winters?
Here.
Mrs. Trotter? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Parliament?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Mr. Lechner?
He's excused.
Chief Harkins?
Here.
Mr. Talbot?
Here. We're now open up our first public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone wish to speak, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion. Resolutions consent agenda. I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Strada and Mr. Hutchison. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Ms. Grace?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotter?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. We have one GTE Gov access email. That is from Mr. Sweet from 18 Elizabeth Place. He's not here this evening. He's at another meeting. In the last week of September, HUD announced the Gloucester Township was to receive $493,426 under the CARES Act. This money is to provide temporary financial assistance to meet rental obligations for up to 6 months. I asked these questions earlier and realized at the time the program announcements were new and not much was known. It's been a month now, so I will ask again. Was the money received? 2, who's in charge of the money? 3, who's in charge of the record keeping? 4, what are the qualifications in order to apply for access? 5, how does one apply for this relief? And 6, will the records be made public? So the CARES Act, yes, we received $426. We were awarded. So this funding was announced as part of a COVID-3 entitlement for Gloucester Township. We will not receive the funding until certain actions have taken place locally. The Township Consolidated Plan and Action Plan must be revised to include a description of the activities proposed for the use of the special appropriation. Who's in charge of the money? It is Gloucester Township will be the recipient of the funding and shall be responsible for the programmatic and fiscal oversight of this annual community CBG program. All plans for funds are reviewed and approved by HUD. Who's in charge of record keeping? Gloucester Township. We do receive some technical assistance from Triad Associates in matters relating to ensuring compliance with HUD and COVID guidelines and requirements. What are the qualifications in order to apply for access? Once the projects are used, projects for the use of the COVID funding have been approved by HUD, the township will provide project guidelines, policy and procedures. Once again, the very basic requirement that a minimum of 70% of the COVID funding must benefit low to moderate income individuals. And secondly, and equally important, is that the qualifications match COVID priorities. 5, how does this apply? How does one apply for relief? Once HUD approves the proposed projects, funding and policy and procedures for implementing COVID activities are prepared, and that will be made available to the public through the township's website and social media. And 6, will the records be made public? Information regarding COVID's programs and progress will be available on a report called CAPER. It's the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. And other information is provided through Citizens Participation Plan through the township. Also, Mr. Sweet had asked in previous meetings about the Kingdom County Cares Rental Assistance Grant. He is not here. but I'm sure he'll see the video, and I'll send this to him as well. The county's rental assistance grant is for individuals that are looking for rental assistance, and it's available to all Camden County residents. So if you're a Gloucester Township resident, you can apply for this funding. It includes utilities that include the monthly rent. It covers rent payments from April 2020 to September 2020 for a maximum of $4,000. Landlords have to agree to waive the late fees and penalties accrued during this period, and the lease must have begun prior to March 1st of 2020. There is one stipulation here, one of the stipulations: no duplication of funds will be permitted, meaning apartments or landlords who are funded under the state's tenant assistance program or Section 8 are not eligible. And the grant is income-based. So it's at www.camdenrentgrant.com. Once again, www.camdenrentgrant.com, and that is through the Camden County Cares Rental Assistance Grant. So they sent, I'm sure some of my colleagues received this, an email saying that there is money available, and please encourage people to apply for that particular program. We'll now open up our second public portion. This is open for any item that anyone wishes to speak. Please raise their hand. Yes, sir. Yes, you please come up to the microphone, state your name and address directly to the microphone.
How you doing? My name's Nick Rarick. I live at 2506 Beacon Hill Drive. I just wanted to stop in here today and introduce myself. I'm looking to start a business in the downtown area of Blackwood. It's 12 North Black Horse Pike, and I'm looking to start a tattoo shop, and it's not zoned for that right now, but I was just, I'll be putting the paperwork in for that,
Okay.
and just wanted to say hi.
All right. Welcome. Thank you for coming this evening.
Reach out to me, Nick, if you need anything.
With that, we'll close the second public portion. Polling of directors.
Mr. Carlin?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Curtis?
Nothing to report.
Chief Harkins?
I just want to take a moment to acknowledge First Public Works for a great job that they did for us. So last Sunday night into Monday, we had a man, 33-year-old man, that was in crisis in the Cherrywood development. I also want to thank council and the administration for the support. The support that you provided the police department allowed us to get that gentleman to come. We took him into custody safely, uninjured. He was in a mental health crisis, severe mental health crisis. The Bearcat, the armored rescue vehicle, kept the officer safe as he launched all kinds of debris from the second floor, knives, everything. I mean, he had really superhuman strength. The officers, I couldn't be prouder with their patience, the way they implemented the special response team. I often get questioned, why do we need that? Why do we need weapons and stuff? We have plenty of guns, right? It was these specially trained officers with their less lethal options and capabilities and their training more so with the equipment that they had that safely resolved this situation. And what I really want to commend Public Works. So the street was a mess. When I tell you he threw everything that he could out of the window at the officers, he did. He did a lot of damage inside of his house. I left the scene at about 5:30 in the morning. It started about 12:30 at night because he had destroyed a vehicle in front of his house, and we were trying to remove it because it was in the middle of the road, and that's all that kind of started. But he was giving his mother that he lived with a very, very hard time. But Public Works the next morning, as part of our team effort to not only just resolve the situation, community relations went around with and saw the neighbors. We helped her out. Public Works employees went into the woman's house, and they didn't have to do this. They restored her heat by restoring the thermostat that he broke off, and they rewired it. They boarded up the front door because the officers had to breach the front door. The litter patrol cleaned the entire street. I went by after I got back up and came back in, and you couldn't barely tell that anything happened on the street. And it was just a very proud moment to be part of this Gloucester Township community and government, that everybody pulled together to take care of the situation and restore life back to normal. So, Mr. Cardis, I want to just publicly acknowledge what a great team effort. They dropped what they were doing, came out there and restored them.
And you saw, I shared your email.
I did, yes. Thank you very much. So I just want to let council know that it was a very proud moment from our end for Gloucester Township and what we're doing. I want to publicly thank you for all of the resources that you guys provide to us. I don't know that any other agency would have handled it as well. And that's not me. It was the officers who have been doing this a long time. But we couldn't have done it without your support. So thank you.
Mr. General? Mr. Hutchison?
Briefly, Chief, I don't know if you were here that there was a gentleman in the audience a couple of years back when we purchased the Bearcat. And I posed a question to him after he had complained vociferously about the acquisition. And I asked him if it were to save one police officer's life, would it not be worth it? His response was no. So I'm really glad to hear that you guys are utilizing it.
That's the second time we've used that.
It's been used many times.
Well, that was the gunshots.
It got shot at. Officers would have died in Brittany Woods
Right.
2 years ago. There's no question in my mind. High caliber weapon. They were completely safe, and we were able to resolve that. And that situation right there, as I was here when that was going on, thank you for those that were here, because I don't know how we would have done it if we didn't have that equipment. So, and just this past week was just more of the same. I could name more instances where it has kept the officers safe. It's just a regular part of how we're able to do it. And it allows us to operate so we can get in, like this job, negotiators were right by the door, able to speak to them, where we would have been 50, 60 yards back, and they could safely operate and do their job. So thank you.
And congratulations on your personal achievements.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Grace?
I did on my colleague's comments, and very familiar, although new council, I'm very familiar with the equipment that we have here, and I agree that, I'm glad that our officers are safe and did their job well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Minio?
Wonderful job. And Gloucester Township, you're right. What a cohesive team and effort. Thank you for sharing that story. And you're right. If it does save one person's life, it did its job and it's paid its dues. Unfortunately, mental health is a thing. I mean, I know we're in the COVID area pandemic, but mental health is still there. It's not going away. I wish we could do more with it. But I'm so glad to hear that everybody came out safely, and the gentleman is now seeking treatment that he deserves. Everybody have a great night. Be safe. Thank you.
Mrs. Reynolds?
I just want to thank the police, as always, Public Works, obviously, for pitching in and helping out and making it a great team that they work so well together. And just to remind people, COVID is still out there. Our numbers are rising. Please be safe. Please wear your mask. And you're the only one who can protect you, so please do it.
Mrs. Strada?
Chief, congratulations on your success with that ending. Thank you for sharing that. I did not know that, so it's always nice to hear those stories and how well our departments work together. Thank you. Have a good night.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Do not forget, if you have not voted, don't forget to vote. Vote elections on November 3rd. For my colleagues on council, we have a redevelopment meeting next Monday before our workshop. So it's 6:30, correct?
Correct.
Nancy? Okay. And Chief, you had another title in addition to being a wonderful husband and father to your children, and the great job that you did at our police department, but now a deacon. And so congratulations. And that's, I think that's one of the most, the thing that I think I respect most about you. And I've talked about how you're a man of faith, and how you have stayed a part of this community your entire life, and how you give back. So many blessings. Perhaps you do the prayer. You do the prayer for us one day. We're running low. Yeah. So with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Have a great evening, everyone.
So get used to this calendar.
I was
Am I the right?
They're all at the school board meeting.